Welcome, this is King Lizard and my review for Forza Motorsport 5 on Xbox One. We're currently situated in the game's hub mode, or hub menu if you like. So from here we have the career option, which is pretty much what it states. It's basically the career campaign for this game, and you have a whole series of races through different classes, particular car types if you like. So for instance, modern and 1970s Formula 1, V8, modern IndyCar, prototype, GT racing. Obviously Formula 1 is new to this Forza format if you like, so Forza 5 is the first time we've seen Formula 1. In addition, new additions to Formula 1 include track cars or track toys, things like the KTM and the Ariel V8 Atom, both very welcome additions to the game. So a whole host of different races you can do there. I've spent a horrendous amount of time playing this game. As you can see, I've still got quite a bit to do, so there's lots of game longevity there just in the career mode. Cars in general, if I go into my cars, I actually own every car in the game, hence why I went in here. So by class, you've got your D class, C class, B class, A class, obviously some cars that I've pulled up from the lower ranks, your S class, your R class, which is obviously the race class we used to see in the Forza 3, 4 and 2, P class, and then the X class, which is things like your Indy cars and your Formula 1 cars. Initially the game came out with 200 cars. Right about now I think there's probably some in the region of 270-80 cars in the game, with the extra DLC stuff. Some of it's free. The majority of the cars, I think a good 60 of them, are chargeable via a car pack DLC, which is about £40. You can also buy a VIP DLC, which is about £16, gives you double XP and double cash. So if you want to get buying parts for cars and get buying cars early, then you can do so. Obviously with every game level up, you do acquire cash rewards for every driver level up that you do as well. So there's several ways to earn money. You also have the Rivals mode, which is basically you against the rest of the Forza 5 community, or the world, depending on how you want to look at it. So we've got track days, which is you against the clock, overtaking computer-based opponents. Obviously you hit a car, you come off track, you get a dirty time. Obviously you're not going to remain very competitive against the world with dirty times, so obviously the key is to try and get clean laps, avoid hitting things, and avoid going off track wherever you can. Spec challenge, these are the more specific challenges for Forza 5. So you've got the Coyote Ford there on Oval at Indianapolis, you've got the McLaren P1 on Nuremberg, and the Ford SSV Transit on Nuremberg, the I Can Do That in a Van achievement, which is completing this race in 10 minutes. I actually did this the other day. I put a video on my site the weekend. I was quite elated to actually have finally done it. So in terms of rivals, you have a whole host of different rivals. There's lots of different driving styles catered for. Drifting, you've got your standard time attacks across all of the 8 classes, on every single track flavour or variant on each of the tracks within Forza 5. You've got the track days, which is the overtakes. You've got autocross, which is driving through cones, and then you've got these variety of specific rival challenges, some of which include some drag races as well. Marketplaces, what's available for Forza 5 on the marketplace. It's not specific to the game as such. It's more about buying content for the game as opposed to a marketplace to sell your cars in the game. Forza TV is a place where you can see all your replays and stuff. Forza Gallery is a place where you can see all your photographs that you've taken from the game. Tune and upgrade speaks for itself. This is where you can modify, your vehicles. You can add parts, remove parts, try and get the best combination to get the best vehicle for your style of driving. You can also go into the heavier level of actually tuning the car. Tire pressures, gearing alignments, anti-roll, springs, damping, aero, braking, pressure, along with different, adding differentials. So there's quite a lot of versatility there. I've actually tuned every car in this game. I spent a ridiculous amount of time tuning cars. There is a bit of a limit when it comes to tuning cars. I think you can have a maximum of somewhere in the region of 250 tunes, which I hit, and I can't actually share any more tunes with the community, which is a bit of a shame, but I can still apply tunes to my cars nevertheless. You can paint your car in here, so you can choose to paint your own design, which is a welcome and regular addition to the Forza Motorsport series. You can also find new designs from the community, so designs that other people have put on the marketplace. Okay. You also have the Forza profile, which is all your statistics. Shows your level there, your total mileage that you've driven in game, your current level XP. You can change your title, which is that emblem above my car, my van there. You can see it shows you your affinities on the car's affinities, how much XP you've earned in that particular manufacturer, for instance. So and there are achievements and stuff based around this, these more longevity based achievements. Your driver tower is a new addition to this car series, where basically your driver tower is a virtual you that you create when you're racing in Forza 5. Obviously you need to drive as many classes and as many race tracks as possible in those various classes to synchronize your driver tower. My driver tower at the moment is at its highest at 90%. So obviously the closer the percentage to 100, the more your driver tower should in theory drive like you. I'm not sure how true that is. It does seem to bring me in more money these days, so there's some truth in it. But it's a nice feature. It allows you to race against your friends in races. The game will actually put into career mode your friends from your friend list racing against you in some of the cars they've been driving in those series of races. The rest of the stuff's all pretty, much set up stuff and configuration. So that's pretty much Forza 5 in a nutshell. What I'll do now quickly, rather than go into a race, I'll load up one I made earlier. We'll go on to Prague, which I think is one of the nicer looking tracks in the game, and load this replay. This is me racing a Dodge Viper SRT10 around Prague in reverse. This is actually a track days rival challenge, so it's me overtaking cars as cleanly as I can, avoiding getting dirty laps and trying not to come off the track, which for a change I actually do reasonably okay here. Hope you enjoy the replay as much as I do. The other features you can do in Forza, you can go into, for instance, this replay and start. If you look down the bottom, there's a take photo icon. I can actually start taking pictures. It'll stop what's happening on the screen, and I can zoom into the area and try and get photographs of the cars and stuff if you're that way inclined in terms of enthusiasm for vehicles. You can change the camera modes while you're watching your replays and stuff as well. There are actually quite a number of different driving views, if you like. You have two external views where you're from kind of chase mode at the back of the car, one slightly further away, one closer. You have a bonnet view, you have a typical front of car view, and you've got your in-car view as well. I personally love the in-car view. For me, it's just the ultimate realism for a driving game. It just makes it that much more interesting to play. Forza 5 graphically is a phenomenal game. You do get the odd little thing, the odd little glitch, which, to be honest, I wouldn't have expected. You do, what's the word? From time to time, I've been racing, in a career race, and things have kind of slowed down a little bit, which is a bit weird, obviously, for a single player. I can only assume that it's looking at, its connection at that time. Maybe there's a bit of an upset, bit of a timeout, which is why I get that slowdown. So that's, a little strange, but to be honest, it happens so few and far between, I can kind of forgive that. But this track is obviously one of the new additions to Forza. We've also recently been graced with Nuremberg from Forza 4, which is a fantastic racing event. 3 different flavours of Nuremberg: the GP, the Nordschief, and the Nordschief plus the GP, which makes for a 16-mile track. So those of you who like your epic racing, that's the track to do it on. We also got Long Beach, more famous probably for its IndyCar racing and stuff there. And another really nice addition to the game, and Road America from obviously Forza 4 before. Initially when this game came out, Turn 10 got quite a rough deal from the public and gamers alike because of lack of content, or what seemed to be lack of content. 200 cars plus just over, I think it was around about 12 or 13 tracks on initial release. Over the past past 10 months, Turn 10 have done quite a good job of fixing some of those issues and giving us more content and making it more acceptable. I'm hoping that Turn 10 will continue to support Forza 5 into the release of Forza 6, or at least up until the release of Forza 6, when we receive that as a bigger game, hopefully. Because I think there is a market, for this game until then, and you do need to keep your fellow fans like myself interested. There are lots of different hardnesses in this game. You do have quite if you're not that used to driving games, you can start in the very low tiers and race in easy mode. There are somewhere in the region, I think there's about 6 or 7, might be 8 hardness difficulties for this game. So again, there's once you get used to the tracks, you get used to the cars, you get some good cars, you can start racing your careers in the higher levels of cars. Unfortunately, the one thing you don't get when you race at a higher level is extra XP for it, which is a bit strange, or extra cash. So it's really your choice as to how you race. I personally like a challenge, so these days I'm racing pro mode, whereas originally when I started playing this, I was driving highly experienced. I typically do drive auto and still do quite well in auto. But manual gearing is really the place to be if you're going to be driving this game online. Let me just stop this replay. Now, as I said, graphically this game is very, very impressive. It does have this the odd issue. There was the original content concern, but as I said, Turn 10 in my opinion have done quite enough now to make things right with the gaming community in terms of adding content and longevity to this title. It is a pretty massive game if you're a completionist like myself. there's lots of different varieties and ways to drive. There's a good extensive career that's very long career. I too was one of those disgruntled fans when this game came out, but I'm pretty content now, and because of that I'm happy to give Forza 5 a 9 out of 10. Enjoy.